What's up, man? It's your boy, One Sir Grove. Mark Levin is right, dude. I've been saying it all along as well. I've been saying it for years. It's never been a question in my mind. Fuck Julian Assange. That dude's a bitch, man. That dude, the way he operates, man. First of all, dude, in my line of business, I'm a government contractor. Like, all rap persona aside, and all like arts and entertainment aside, I'm a government contractor. So I work in defense as a government contractor providing a service to the U.S. intelligence community. And I'm not new to the game. So those of you who follow my podcast and who know what I do in terms of, that I'm a defense contractor and that I've talked about it quite a bit over the years, my experiences, the different types of work that I've done that I have been able to talk about. Julian Assange is a fucking high-tech terrorist. The dude is a high-tech terrorist. Do you remember what happened on 9/11? Do you remember on 9/11 what happened, or what we were told happened in terms of like what took place with regard to an attack that happened on U.S. soil? Whether it was an inside job, combination of people from the inside helping to facilitate terrorists is what I meant to say. So that some end goal, some master plan could be carried out where people in our government at the shadow government level, and not a good shadow government level, but at a rogue faction shadow government level, would have expanded police powers, an Orwellian system, massive surveillance system, police state. Do you remember what happened? The planes that crashed into the buildings, as we were told and as we saw on TV and as it appeared, took place. For a lot of Americans, man, it didn't matter how big or fucking strong you were, how smart or courageous you were. That was some scary shit, man. Even people who are courageous can say to themselves, hey, man, this is some fucking scary shit that's taking place. I've got to maintain my composure. I have to keep a cool and steady mind. Nonetheless, this is some horrifying nightmare scenario type shit. That was 9/11, dude. Julian Assange is the type of piece of fucking trash of planet Earth that helps terrorists. He's a terrorist. He's a fucking terrorist. In the parlance of intelligence, counterintelligence, and the world of espionage, counter-espionage, spying, counter-spying, he's a fucking spy. He's a spy who uses high technology. He uses the internet. He's a social engineer. He's a hacker. He's a thief of high-level classified information, whereby with the combination, attack, method, strategy, he socially engineered certain scenarios in which he would be in a position to get close to fools who would then provide him information. That's called social engineering. He didn't need to break a code because he could find the people who had the codes or people who could break the codes. So in that regard, he didn't need any type of skills in code breaking, cryptology. I'm not saying he doesn't have them, and I'm not saying that he does. What I'm saying is that he's a social engineer, hacker, because social engineering is hacking. It's one of the strategies in the larger world of hacking. And if you've studied cybersecurity like I have, then you ought to know that social engineering is one of the most advanced skills in the world of intelligence gathering, espionage. Because if you have the personality, if you have the persona, if you have the wherewithal and the ability to get close enough to the people who have the codes, you don't need to break the fucking codes. And that's some dangerous shit that our government is fearful of. And very well should be, ought to be. So in that, Julian Assange, with his little baby face and his little stories and narratives that he's doing it for the sake of freedom and liberty and justice for all, he's a fucking scumbag, dude. That dude should be locked up forever. Like, the type of shit that he does AIDS motherfuckers that did this shit on 9/11. Now, you may not believe that there were terrorists who flew planes. I believe that there were. I believe that they were assisted by people in our government. In other words, a rogue faction in our government allowed that to take place and actually helped them. Did they know that they were being helped? No, of course they did not. FBI had intel that people were trying to fly planes and not land them. Jesus motherfucking Christ, man. Training at a flight school in Florida, learning how to fly planes and not learning to land them. Wow. Wow. And then the FBI story, and I'm not saying this is the whole FBI. I'm not saying everyone at the FBI. I'm talking about a rogue faction, a small group within the FBI. Don't think there hasn't been a rogue faction at CIA. Don't think there hasn't been a rogue faction at DIA. Don't think there hasn't been a rogue faction at NSA, any agency you can think of. There's some motherfucking mole, traitor, operator who does not have America's or your best interest in mind. They're working, that person, that group, against America from within. Simple shit, dude. Fucking straightforward shit. Julian Assange is the type of punk motherfucker who assists terrorists so that terrorists can carry out attacks on America, whether digitally, over the computer lines, internet, web, grid, or other conventional attack type shit. Any type of attack that you can think of. He's the type of motherfucker that not only aids and assists, but he also is someone who helps embolden the cause of terrorism. He inspires fucking terrorists because they want more and more of his shit. And then they expect for more people to come out like Assange and do the shit that he's doing. What Julian Assange does is he creates a terrorist marketplace. He adds to the already existing terrorist marketplace. He adds to it. He inspires terrorists. So there are people, terrorists, less than human fucking humanoids that are out there that see what he does and it inspires them, and then they want more. They want more product. They demand more. It creates a demand. It creates more of a demand for stolen, classified information. When you look at the volumes of information that were stolen by WikiLeaks, Manning, and Snowden, when you look at Chelsea Manning, WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, Snowden, trifecta of bad motherfuckers, not in a good way. Bad motherfuckers that stole highly sensitive U.S. classified intelligence information. When you look at the volume, the sheer number of files that they stole, documents, and the collective overall total volume of data that they stole, the shit is goddamn fucking unprecedented. If you go back and look at like Jonathan Pollard from the Israeli debacle, in that he was alleged to have been pilfering information from America and delivering it to the Israeli government. I'm bringing it up now. When I was a kid, this was big news. And it says right here, 1993, Wikipedia, Jonathan J. Pollard is a former intelligence analyst for the United States government. In 1997, as part of a plea agreement, Pollard pleaded guilty to spying for and providing top secret classified information to Israel. He was sentenced to life in prison for violations of the Espionage Act. So, life in prison back then. And as part of a plea agreement, well, let's see. So right here in 2018, the Times of Israel was saying that that the U.S. was refusing to let him move to Israel. So let's take a look at release, because Jonathan, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. When you go to news, give me one moment, because I recall in the news, hold on. Okay, here we go, news. It says here, 4 weeks ago, the Jerusalem Post. Okay, so they're talking about how someone has been trying to put a stop to his release because there were talks at some point of doing an exchange to get him out. And the point is, if you look at how many documents Jonathan Pollard had in his possession, Jonathan Pollard, number of classified documents, DOCUMENTS, let's rock. So it says right here, in the news, next page, how many, let's see, all right, let's just see what it says. Here's the CIA assessment. All right, so there's an assessment by CIA that is declassified on some level. It says here that he's currently incarcerated still. As of, hold on, granted parole, July 7, 2015, released. That's what I thought. That's what the fuck I thought. Okay? So released November 20, 2015. But with the Mandela effect and everything that's going on in terms of that phenomenon and shifting timelines, I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure that they let him out. So how many documents did he steal? I remember, if I'm not mistaken, reading in, was it James Bamford, Puzzle Palace? What was the source? It detailed the information, at least to some degree, some extent, in terms of, I'm just scanning through this information here, of what he had passed. And I know, okay, here we go. All right, it says, this is Wikipedia again, quote, he was paid $10,000 cash and given a very expensive diamond and sapphire ring, which Pollard later offered to his girlfriend Anne when proposing to her. Pollard was paid well by the Israelis. He received a salary that eventually reached $2,500 a month and tens of thousands of dollars in cash disbursements for hotels, meals, and jewelry. All right, so back then, man, in the 1980s, $2,500 a month was a lot of money. And then, of course, all of the little other gratuities and amenities that were thrown in with it. I'm just trying to get a volume, man. I'm just trying to get a volume here. And it really honestly doesn't matter because he didn't pass as many files as, it's not even fucking close, dude. He didn't even, it wasn't even close. I mean, he was delivering documents, but dude, no fuck. Okay, here we go. So the FBI, quote, the FBI again became involved. A short time later, Pollard's neighbor, a naval officer, became concerned about safeguarding the 70-pound, 32-kilogram suitcase full of highly classified material that Anne had given him, and began calling around the military intelligence community asking for advice. 70-pound suitcase, dude. 70-pound suitcase filled with documents. That's just one instance, okay? It's just one instance. But it's not the sheer number of files stolen in relation to WikiLeaks. Dude, it was alleged that between Manning, Assange, and Snowden, they stole millions of documents, files, millions of files and documents collectively between the three of them. Shared, intel, classified, millions of fucking files. Literally. That is an insane fucking number. Now, you know, he didn't even come close to that, Pollard, because back then there wasn't an internet in the public domain where, for example, he could go around to public libraries and Wi-Fi hotspots and cyber cafes and so on, schools, universities, anywhere where, you know, he had or could come into contact with a handheld mobile device, smartphone, PDA, personal digital assistant, as we used to say, laptop, computer, you name it, desktop computer at home. It would have been different. It would have been a lot easier, quite possibly and most likely, for him to be able to carry out tradecraft in a much larger, more effective manner. Back then, had he had access to the internet, but he didn't have access to the internet, not the high-speed internet of today, because it was non-fucking existent. So that's why and how Julian Assange is a motherfucking high-tech terrorist. He's a fucking bad dude, man. He's a really, really fucked up dude. He's not a fucking good guy. I mean, honestly, dude, like our military intelligence community, man, he's lucky that he's not going to get the death penalty, man. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to give him the death penalty, but ideally they should. They should just fucking blow him away, dude. But you got to keep motherfuckers like him alive because he's a sneaky son of a bitch, and he might have some shit stashed away somewhere that U.S. intel needs to know about. And if you just off his ass, then you won't get the intel most likely. He probably got shit stashed in cyberspace, nooks and crannies, different parts of the globe, and our gov needs to probe his mind. They need to fucking hook him up to military-grade biometrics and put him in one of those rooms inside of a room in fucking space, under the ocean, out in some kind of fucking quadrant of space-time, maybe on a car, train car, cart, and just roll him around on a track and shit, and he doesn't know where the fuck he is, man, and he's just constantly rolling on a fucking track, on a train, in a train cart that fucking never really stops ever. I mean, it might stop for a moment, but it just keeps rolling indefinitely, and he has no fucking idea where he is. Or on a barge that's just seagoing out to sea, and he just has no idea where the fuck he is. You know what I mean? He's not really in any country. He's just in international waters and shit. And he has no fucking idea where the fuck he is. Maybe one day, man, he'll decide to provide that information that he has stashed away. So our U.S. intelligence, that's why I don't believe Osama bin Laden is really dead. I just don't. I never did. And his death didn't make any sense anyway, in my view, my opinion. But that's my opinion. So it would have been stupid for the U.S. intelligence community to kill Osama bin Laden. Of course, most people in the public are going to believe that he's dead, and any notion to the contrary, of course, people in the public are just going to be like, yeah, sure, dude, I'm going to scoff and mock you. Come on, dude, that's just a tinfoil hat conspiracy. And it's like, is it really now? So, regardless, point is, Julian Assange is fucked. That dude, man, is going to do serious motherfucking time. The current administration, look, man, the only reason Chelsea Manning got out and off at that moment in time when Chelsea Manning got off was because of goddamn Barack Hussein Barack Obama. That's the only fucking reason, dude. Anybody else, man, who would have stolen the sheer amount of intel that Chelsea Manning stole, dude, come on, man, fucking please, man. They gave Jonathan Pollard life in fucking prison, dude. Life in fucking prison over some shit when he was assisting Israel. Now, if you were Israel, would you believe everything that America tells you? No. So, every country, which you learn in intel, is that every country spies on every country. America, we say we don't spy on these friends and allies of ours. Everybody knows at this point, pretty much at the adult level, mostly, who follows any type of geopolitics, knows that we fucking spy on everyone. And everyone spies on us. That is America. It's just the way that it fucking goes. And then we tell our allies that, well, okay, we don't do it as much, though, because we're friends. So it's not like spying. I mean, it is, but it really kind of isn't, though, but it is. And it's not as much. It's lesser because we're friends and we're allies. But, we got to do it, because we gotta. And then the other countries, and then those countries are like, right, and you're supposed to be our fucking friends. Well, Israel spies on America. Jonathan Pollard, that was his conviction in terms of his faith, his belief. That's who he had alliance to, was Israel. And so he did it for Israel because Israel needs to know what America's doing. When America pretends to be friends and sharing information in a forthcoming, upfront manner, come on, dude, Israel needs to know the truth. So, I understand why he did it, man. I understand why he did it. Did he need to be given a fucking life sentence, dude? Seriously? I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe that's your opinion that he did. Because he knew the risks. He knew the inherent risks. He knew what was involved. He knew the outcome. Should he be caught, apprehended, prosecuted, found guilty? He took those risks, man. They were calculated risks. It's not like it was something that he was getting into of which he had no inclination as to what ramifications and consequences would and could and might be. Therefore, consequentially, he fucking fell, man. And he fell hard and he got locked up. Is he a hero to Israel? Perhaps to some in Israel. Some people in Israel who are pro-Israel, they may be pro-Israel in their way, but not believe that spying on behalf of Israel is a good thing because it involves information stolen from America. People have their different belief systems, man. Okay? And people think differently. Point is, was it fair? I'm just posing that question. I don't have an answer. I don't have an opinion. I'm indifferent and I'm impartial. I'm saying this objectively. Now let's look again. How many documents? Hold on. How many documents did Jonathan Pollard? I would just ask Google, but if I do with the program that I'm using, it won't connect to the internet on this particular computer while I'm casting. All right, so here we go. How many documents did Jonathan Pollard steal? So this is from Business Insider. Here's the quote. Here's the CIA's damage assessment for Jonathan Pollard, who was just freed. All right, so bringing up this article from Business Insider, and let's take a look at what Business Insider is claiming, alleging that the was and is the CIA's damage assessment for Jonathan Pollard. All right, so this is it was 2015. It was 20 November 2015. All right, let's see. Leaves U.S. District Court in Manhattan. Scanning through the article. Again, this is Business Insider. We're just looking for some scholarly information here. All right, turned over thousands of Okay, all right. So, quote, he turned over thousands of classified documents and even allegedly sold documents to Pakistan and apartheid South Africa as well. Okay, does that sound like millions to you? 1,000 times 1,000 is a million, is it not? Okay, it says thousands. Doesn't say millions. Because if it were 1,000 times 1,000, then it would say he transferred, that is disseminated, that is stole, and relayed, sent out, broadcast, handed over, gave Just got to be clear about this. Millions of documents or 1 million documents. It does not say that. It says thousands. And that is if what Business Insider is saying is true. And I believe that that's what I read in that past case history. That case history, some 20 fucking years. Man, I was a kid. This is 1987, dude. The 1980s before the 1990s. So, think about it. Chelsea Manning, Julian Assange, and Edward motherfucking traitor to America Snowden, who is no hero, stole collectively millions of documents. And Chelsea Manning gets off by way of Hussein Barack Obama. Wow, that's amazing. Because Hussein Barack Obama is the same dastardly villain, terrorist sympathizer who helped facilitate the rise of ISIS, along with his buddy and cohort, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and her fucking espionage server. I'm one Sir Grove, reporting to and for the American people.